Good evening, NHPUK here, special edition, Monday night. So Friday was near Stafford. I was just off the M6, junction 15, and I was there. I agree with that statement. I totally agree with that statement. Good evening, the Roch. Good evening, the Roch. I agree with that statement, Ant. Not just religions, of other ideologies like the LGBT scene. They are not tolerant or anything like that. But, there's a lot of that no tolerance in society, especially in the UK now. I never got brought up like that. We got brought up with Church of England values. Nobody was. Women weren't made to feel that they couldn't do anything or they couldn't work or anything like that. They couldn't do jobs. Everyone was treated equally. We didn't show any kind of. We never got taught at Sunday school or the Boys Brigade or any of our things to do with school. We never got taught to hate anybody. We never got taught that. I thought that we got taught pretty good tolerance, actually. That's what I thought we got brought. And there's many communities that have integrated and are tolerant. And I won't lie, even though I don't want the Ukrainians here now, but the Ukrainians came in the 50s and 60s and they integrated well, tolerant, a lot like us. But now we have so many different cultures that are not tolerant of certain things. And obviously religion is a big one. And over the weekend, I'm no fan of him. Salman Rushdie, I'm not a fan. All I know that he wrote a book going against like the scriptures of Islam and all that, and then they want him deaf on towards him. Now, even though I don't agree with the left, and even though I abhorrently hate them when they support paedophilia and stuff like that, I don't want to kill these people. I don't want to do any violence against them. I don't want to do that. I want to have my say and a debate in the issues that we have. But we wouldn't even have to be talking about these things if other people talked about them. Our leaders, our councillors do not talk about these issues that we have within our community. They don't. I've proved that in my videos about Oldham and that Ritual report, that they do not solve or deal with the issues that come, and they won't talk about these issues. And it's nationally. Obviously, I was a lot to do with Batley last year in the by-election for Member of Parliament when Kim Leadbeater were getting up. Everybody who was up there heard what I had to say on my videos and stuff like that. I were up there every day for 4 days. I did a Joe Cox video on the Tommy Murr never killed Joe Cox. She was killed by someone else, and I firmly believe that. And when we was up there, we spent a couple of days with Therese Hurst. And just one sec, I'm sure Therese is a chairwoman or chairman of Yeah, so Tricius, chairman of the English Democrats, we was in Batley, Square, and I was filming, live streaming, and she was talking to people because she wants some vote for her. So she went talking to a mother of a child that goes to that school, and she said, I didn't film it because she didn't want filming, but she said that she was afraid for the kids, and she was afraid herself of going back to that school. I reckon people would have took kids out of that school. And also we found out that it's not just one teacher hasn't gone back, but the other teachers are afraid. Honestly, so, we've got teachers, and the thing that teacher did, I didn't think was extreme or anything, particularly myself. But obviously other people do. And he's still living a hidden life. Good evening, English Bulldog. Yes, Arlene. Solomon Angel. Thank you. But yes, Tricius, chairman of the English Democrats, and that's who we spent time with in Batley last year. Also, Oldham, there's been protests over gender identity being taught in school, with the lead activist going live on telly saying there could be riots again if you don't take him out. So, to him, if it doesn't come out of schools, then he's going to riot. That's what he's saying. There was no action. No one did nothing against him. The investigation into Batley, if you would have been watching on the day, I had a debate with a lead activist who went on Sky News to calm everyone down over this Batley school teacher thing. And he said to me there on the day that we want a transparent investigation. But when the investigation come out, it didn't go far enough as to be broadcast to members of the public. Big John showed you that. Big John, no paper has put it in the paper. No paper has put it in. It's there, and I know it can be accessed by the public. I'm going to try and do it actually, but no paper. Nobody said nothing. Nobody said nothing, and just left it in that kind of state. Now, I don't live in a country where we leave big issues like that and we don't say anything. I don't live in that country. I'm not going to go on about the religion. I'm not going to read any verses out of the Quran or anything. I will talk about culture because other cultures are a lot different. And nobody says anything. If people talk about this and we can get a resolution on it and we can come to somewhere we can sort these issues out, but no one will talk about it. Well, let me just tell you now, Big John will talk about it. And I'm against any kind of immigration. If you agree with the things that I said, then you should be joining the National Housing Party and should be voting for us, and you should be trying to run as a candidate. We're not saying anything hateful or nasty or anything like that. It's just that nobody talks about these issues. Can somebody show me something where they've discussed these issues? Now, I know that they've discussed the rape gang one time in Houses of Parliament. What did that end up? That ended up a whitewash. That was pretty crap. But there's not been any debates over religion in the UK. David Ames was killed, and they couldn't stop saying enough about right-wing things. When David Ames was killed, I've never heard Jo Cox's name mentioned so many times. And she wasn't killed. She wasn't killed by a right-winger. Let's just say that. And over the past 20 years, there's only one kind of death. 93 deaths to do with explosions and stabbings. Yeah, if you want to talk about right-wing murders or killings, possibly one at Finsbury Park Mosque when Darren Osborne ran his van into the guy who was having an heart attack anyway and were old, but that could be counted as one. And even though I don't agree, Jo Cox was another. So 2 in the past 20 years to 93. Nobody talks about it, unfortunately. No Conservative will talk about it. No Labour person will talk about it. You don't really get much talk out of the Islamic community. I want to talk about these things. I want to talk about these issues, me. Otherwise, how can we ever think that we're going to resolve them in the UK? You know what I mean? Honestly, I just don't get it. I really don't get it. Yeah, Arlene's right. We visited a shop in Batley, and the woman was just saying things that went contrary, disinformation like mad. Honestly, she must have been prepped to say these things, because I think this actually the police have been into a lot of the shops. We got this off Graham Moore because he was with Therese Just one of the days, and they weren't allowing them to go into the shops, and the shops told them that the police said they can't go in. Honestly, that's what it was like in Batley. You know what I mean? Now, not for, the police shouldn't be doing that for political views. Police should be impartial. If the police were more impartial, we wouldn't be in half as much trouble as we're in now. If the police was impartial, but it's never going to end up like that. So yeah, I don't like all these things, but nobody will talk about them. Nobody will talk about these issues. No one wants to talk. If you talk about the rape gangs, you're a racist or an Islamophobe, or they call you politically correct words that we don't like saying. You talk about Jewish things, you're anti-Semitic, and now, I'm not just going to bash Islam, right? Judaism, illegal faith schools in the UK, and in the reign of things, it's Islamic top, Judaism second, Christian third. The Christian percent is about 12% compared to the other two, which are more like 30 or 40%. And the schools in Hackney, there's up to 1,500 kids not being taught any kind of like respect for British laws or anything like that. They're not being taught English or anything like that. Now, a lot of people, someone said to me, but they don't do anything wrong. It don't matter. They live in the UK. They live in the UK. They should be speaking English. Don't matter what they do. They should be speaking English. And it's another big fault of this country is that people do not do our language. And these are illegal schools. These are getting taught anti-Western stuff. And I just have a big problem with that. I'm not going to say it's all right for them, the Jews, to have illegal schools and not pull, and then say it's not all right for the Islamic. I've had a big problem for a long time. I've done detailed videos on all these things that I'm talking about. So I'm not just making them up or anything like that. And I have a big problem with that. We live in the United Kingdom, and we have laws. You live in England and you have laws, and you should be following the law of our land to the spot on. And then we wouldn't have any of the troubles that we're in now. We wouldn't have. Remember, we've got some of the best lawing system going. I heard this on GB News, and I agree. And throughout time, the laws in our country are good, but we're interfered by all these European laws and European Court of Human Rights and 1951 Refugee Convention. These are all interfering, and they supersede or they over trump our laws, and that shouldn't be happening. That, especially since we've left the EU. Yeah, Bulgod just confirming there because he was at the time. That's right. The pubs wouldn't serve us. So the banner behind me, Islamoganda. Now that was from 2019, I think it were, and as a Manchester collective alongside James Goddard went down, and that banner, but not that particular one, but that banner was on the back of the Manchester Evening News Arena, the car park section, hung up there. And we had issues because, as we know, in 2017, 22 people, teenagers mainly, were killed by an Islamic terror attack. And we went down, did a video, and they took the banner down. But this was another one that was a bit further on in Cheetham Hill. And it wasn't us who put Islamoganda on it, but obviously other people had an issue with that one as well. And that's what ended up. But we managed to get a photo of that. And I think there's only this photo that I've got of it, of that particular one. To save a life is as if you've saved all of mankind. And yet 22 people get blown up in the MEN arena, and that's on the back of the arena. So James Goddard, Jim Edwards, me, we were all involved in going down, filming and taking pictures of it. But yeah, and you know, they took it down the next day. But you know, we don't discuss things enough, and you know, it's offensive that went up. It's offensive that went up. But as you've seen on me on the description picture, we've got another banner. Thank you to the Roch for pointing it out. That's a banner now that we're with a new banner. There is no God but Allah. Muhammad is a messenger of Allah. You know, and it's offensive to me because we live in a Christian country, and I feel offense at it. There has been some reporting of it done, but we don't need to go into a bit more detail to get it reported, and we'd have to go to the advertising firm. But yeah, and that's appearing everywhere, and obviously, Salman Rushdie has just been attacked. David Ames got attacked last year, and they were saying all these people who were attacking him were saying, "God is great, Allah, man," and you know, like, but like nobody wants to discuss it. Our politicians don't discuss it, whether it's a positive discussion or negative discussion. And of course, the Islamic community, there is some Islamic people but they just back it all up, and it just goes against all the values that I got brought with. But with this extremism, doesn't just come things like this. As we know, there was a school. Hang on, I hate to do this. I fucking hate getting the evidence up when I've shown it already. But let's just. So remember, earlier on this year, police raid unregistered school over female genital mutilation fears. Cops arrest 3 people after finding room with bed and medical equipment underneath an unregistered school. Got issues with all this, but we don't talk about them. And I promise people that when I get into Oldham Council, I'll be bringing these issues up with Oldham Council because it's a big issue up here. I've showed you schools that they're not even unregistered and don't teach English properly at these schools. I've showed you this. And these schools, it's from 2017, this. And remember, the Ritchie report said 20 years ago they're going to put more into schools. Well, they haven't done enough, if you ask me. And a source close to Oldham Council, the job centre area, has told me that it's a big issue in Oldham. So I'm going to be looking into that. And no one talks about any of these extreme things. So, yeah, you know, I'm offended. So we can find out the advertising firm. If you've got it, Roch, let me know. And I'm going to do an email to them. I'll do an email to them. And we'll see what can be done. You know, I've just got to tell you about an incident a week on last Friday. So I finished knocking in Oldham and I've come up to town centre, and I'm going to getting some chippy, and then I'm on my way home. And 2 lads come up to me. One of them said, "Are you with the EDL or the BNP?" and I'm with the National Housing Party, so I had my leaflets, showed him my leaflet, and he claimed he was Indian. Didn't want any kind of immigration, he said, but he wasn't. I couldn't say anything against immigration. Why? Because he said that it's my fault because I've got an English mother that we went into India in the colonialism days and robbed everything. And this is how he was talking to me. He said, and you lot and your family and your people. That's how he was saying. And I went, hang on, mate. I didn't do any of that. Neither did any of my family. We're working class. We were slaves ourselves here in the mills. You did it. This is what it was like with me. So I had a bit of a. I did tell him. F off. Like he told me to go and do my history. That's what he said to me. And I've talked about loads of different kinds of history on my channel and in my videos and stuff like that. He obviously doesn't know, but he said he subscribed to my channel, but he hasn't left any comments on any of my videos yet. Honestly, so you're not going to win with the blame game on me. Nobody is going to win by trying to blame me for the sins of my father. And it's the first time, really, anyone said anything to me as like that in public. But, I don't expect any of them, really, they'll set things that just don't make sense or threaten me or something like that. They've lost. But anyway, so I'm fearful for all these things. And I just find it offensive that they're putting these banners up and stuff like that. David Ames got attacked and all that lot. And none of them are saying anything. Can I just say that the members of Parliament in Oldham haven't said anything supporting Salman Rushdie? They haven't said anything. Deborah Abrams, silent. Jim McManaman, silent. Angela Rayner, silent. The council, silent. No one has said anything at all. No one's stuck up for him or anything like that. If we're talking councillors and wannabe councillors, I bet I'm the only person even talking about Salman Rushdie, talking about the barbaric attack on him just for writing his opinion on certain books. But we don't deal with these issues. All I'm going to think of is next time it's going to be a working class person who's murdered because they've said the wrong thing or they've disrespected a barbaric culture or a foreign culture that's very intolerant or something like that. But, nobody will talk about it. I challenge Oldham Council and the councillors start talking about these issues that I bring up all the time. Why don't we start off with the schools? Why aren't they teaching English in schools? And if you won't say it now, you can take the glory for it, but I will be saying it when I'm in the council. I will be putting forward all my evidence, all my writings about it, or everything I know about these issues in our schools. I'll show them where it's linked to crime, antisocial behaviour. I'll show them where they're showing an anti-English, well, we can say anti-white, but anti-British, anti-white agenda against everyone who's always here. And I'll put these issues in the council. At least if nothing gets done, I'll have tried. But I think that I can get some of these issues talked about in the council because I know that there is other councillors who will talk about it. They might not have done yet, but if I talk about it, I know that they're going to talk about it. I'm guessing that Fails of Independence will probably be in agreement with a lot of things to do with that group. I should think so. My ward's right next to Failsworth, and I guess everyone knows each other out of both the wards. I'm willing to work with them as long as it's on bona fide or stuff like that. But yeah, so it's a challenge to the council to start talking about all the issues we have in Oldham. Not speaking English at school, lack of integration, anti-British, anti-white rhetoric. Anyway, flag flying. It's Pakistan and India's days, Independence Days, and they're flying flags over the council buildings. Now, let's look at a particular view that somebody has. I'll show you an atheist view of flag flying in Oldham. I'll show you an atheist's view of flag flying in Oldham. Just one sec. Just looking for it now. Right, so this is an atheist view, right, of, let's just get it up on screen. I'll look at the comments in a minute, just give me a sec. Come on, why has it not come? Last year, this Labour Oldham hoists a Pakistan flag as a Pakistani-backed Taliban take over Afghanistan. Now, this is from the guy who does this is an atheist, doesn't do with religion. Really can't continue to stay quiet on the hypocrisy of Labour Oldham celebrating Pakistani Independence Day on Saturday as a Pakistani flag was hoisted over the Civic Centre, while simultaneously condemning the UK for leaving Afghanistan. All our blinkered politicos clearly chose to ignore that Pakistan is not only the birthplace of the Taliban, but also the country which has supported, armed and hidden the Taliban for decades, even as the entolding crisis of human rights abuse begins. The Pakistani government has voiced its support for the Taliban. Yes, we know of America's covert support for the Taliban during the Soviet occupation of Afghanistan, just as we know about US companies funding dangerous gain-of-function research at the Wuhan Institute. Let's also not forget it was Labour who wrongly put troops into Afghanistan, and the UK government had its hands tied on withdrawal after Trump announced pulling US troops out, and Biden continued with the same policy. We should give shelter to those whose lives are under threat because of their connection with British occupation, but they should be distributed across the entire UK, and we should condemn our political leaders who won't call out human rights violations. Nations such as Pakistan that continue to oppress women, minorities, and the media, and blatantly support terrorist-led Sharia enforcement in the region. What can I say? I can't argue with any of that. I can't argue with any of that. This is an atheist's point of view, but I can't argue with any of that. Everything he says there is 100% right. And, you know, it's just that they don't integrate. If, you know, we're told, in Britain, we're told we've got to integrate with everyone and accept them. You know, we come under Britain, the Union Jack, which encompasses all the ex-colonies and all that lot, then that should be the only flag that goes up. And the England flag, because we live in England, we shouldn't have any Ukrainian flags. We shouldn't have any LGBTQ flags. You know, nothing said in the council, nothing said on the media about the lack of Islamic presence at the last gay pride thing in Oldham. Nothing said. I'm not a supporter of LGBT, but I took my mum out. No, but nothing said against that community. But if the general white people here denounced it and said they didn't want it, which they have done, then you're a transphobe or an LTGBT phobe, or they want to call you all these politically correct words. But no one says anything about the Islamic community. But Christians are under attack. A woman running for mayor, and she just said she believes in the family and all that. She's been cancelled, she's been sacked off a job of 13 years for saying that. And, you know, like, no one says anything. No one said anything. Obviously, we just had a big child sexual exploitation scandal. And we just had one speech off the deputy mayor, Abdul Jabbar, that lasted for about 45 seconds, if that. That's all we've had. No one else has said anything from the Islamic community. And all they're doing is throwing political correct words at all the Oldham community who are in uproar over it. You just couldn't make it up. No one talks about these issues. Well, it's up to me to get the council to talk to these issues. So I'll get in the council, I'll talk with the other councillors, I'll talk with the Conservative councillor, and I'll show Mr. Barnes, look, these schools, we need to sort them out so they're learning English. How are we going to go about it? You know what I mean? And then get other councillors to come on board to sort these issues out, because we're never going to have any peace while we're divided. I've said this. I believe in it. The other people have said it. And they keep us divided with politically correct words and stuff like that. But we need to talk about all these issues that I've mentioned today. We need to talk about them. You know what I mean? Remember, it's right-wing terrorism that's worse than anything else, even though in the past 20 years, there's only possibly 2 people been killed by anything that might possibly 2 right-wing attacks, towards 93 Islamic attacks in 23 years. They locked some kid up for getting a book off the internet that they didn't like him reading it. The book weren't banned. He just bought it off Amazon, and he went on the terrorist watch list. I know I've got personal friends who've defended themselves when they've been attacked and gone on the terrorist watch list. Honestly, you just couldn't make it up. And, you know, I'm not going to be, well, I hope I'm not going to get into that kind of position with police, but they won't be putting me on any kind of terrorism watch list or sending me down for me free speech or my opinion. It just won't work. It just won't work. I don't rant on about any particular religion. And if you want me to start taking down religions, I'll start on them all, man. I'll start on them all. And you know I don't have a high opinion of religion in general. So yeah, you know, that's what I've been up to. Obviously, I went Blackpool as well with Bulldog. Good to see Bulldog. Been a couple of months. Colin and James. It wasn't as good as we thought. There was no drag queen thing on, but we managed to do some videos. We had a walk around with Jennifer, who lives down there. She has a little dog, a little elderly lady. You'll know her if you're from up here. And she took us to 3 of the kebab houses where these guys own, who killed Charlene Downs, but they'd never been done for it. And they got these shops off the 250 grand each compensation they got. But I'm going to do a lengthier video on stuff to do with Charlene. Colin sent me some 2014 leaflets that he's took a picture of. He sent me them about writing off to the cheap. Let me just have a look. You all right, Mummy? You all right, yeah? Oh, thank you for smiling. I love you. I love you, my Mummy Pat. Give me a kiss. I'm nearly finished, Mum. So, yeah, so that's it. I'll be on Thursday. I'll keep going a bit anyway. I'll be on Thursday. I'll look at some of the comments now. I'll be on Thursday. Hiya, Kim. Summertime Sue. Mark Williams. Dave 101. Yes, Peter. I think Peter Smith was with me when we went to Batley last year. He met Tracy, and she got told not to. She got advised not to go to the school in Batley. That's what she got advised. When she told me that, really, we're going. We went, and she did a little video, but it was the day before the election, and I were out, and I didn't come time to put the video up. But I have got the video somewhere of a little speech that we did prompt. But we talk to local people. Teresa's good at that. She's good at talking to like just members of the public, and she talked to these people, and that's what that woman said. She was afraid to send a kid to that school. They were all afraid. All the parents must have been afraid, and I reckon all the teachers were. Even though the media just focuses like it's just one person, it wasn't. It was all the school, ladies and gentlemen. I don't even know what's gone on since then. The teacher's not gone back, and these fundamentalists, they haven't been arrested or they haven't been convicted of a crime, which they should do. They should do. I mean, Pat goes on about talking about getting rid of our hate crime, but I'd love to bring back treason, me, but I don't mean hanging people for doing something against the state, but convicting them of doing things against the state. You know what I mean? Those protests at the school was out of order. Death threats going towards that teacher were out of order. There should have been a case and a conviction there, and I would have put it under treason, me. That's what I would have put it under, treason. But we don't deal with these issues. Nobody wants to talk about them, and I think the Labour politicians and MPs just live off the minority vote where they are. They're glad that white people vote for him, but they're not bothered about you lot. They can't be. Otherwise, they'd focus more on you and they'd sort these issues out that we have between communities. So our community is divided. The council know why, but they don't do anything. That's why everybody in the community in Oldham should vote for the National Housing Party. Forget the other parties. Vote for my party, and then a lot of these issues will come to an end because we'll be talking about them, we'll be discussing them, we'll be debating them. If you vote for Conservative, they won't do it. You vote for Lib Dems, they won't do it. You vote for Greens, they won't do it. You vote for Labour, they won't do it. You vote for Reform, they won't do it. But the National Housing Party will, at a local level, bring these issues to the council. That's why I should be voting for National Housing Party UK. And, I come with a good track record. And I'm not afraid of speaking to people who, like Andy Burnham or the chiefs of police. I'm not afraid to turn around to tell them all that they might as well all be sex offenders. That's what I said to 2 chiefs of police, you know what I mean? And I weren't afraid to say it. I was in every right to say that with what's gone on with police across the country, not just the Met Police, Manchester, Birmingham. I'll never forget that it was at least 50 officers involved in Josh, George and Harry's murder cover-up. 50 Met Police officers. Lots of different organisations connected to them. The fire department connected to them. Everything connected to the police and then police officers all covered up. And it's not just there, it's across the country, unfortunately. And I said that to the police. You know what I mean? Now, I get slagged off for a lot of people on here, but when you've got a track record as good as mine, then you can start giving me some criticism, and there isn't many. And I'm sorry I have to be a bit big-headed sometimes, but it's been well voiced. In the past 4 years, I've certainly done more than 250 protest political events and stuff like that in just like a 3-4 year period. So, and I've done a lot of different stuff. Don't just focus on one issue. But yeah, at local level, I will bring these issues into our council. Again, no MP has said anything. But nothing's been said. Oh, Pat saying, good evening, Pat. UK flags only. I said that. So these issues need talking about, and it's up to me as a local councillor to bring some of these issues to the council. And I think that I can do it as well, because that school issue is a big issue. They're not just teaching English. We've got sex attacks going on in schools. We've got bullying going on in schools in front of teachers and things like that. We've got we had a lot of Islamic people calling the teachers. I went down to the school. There was a school where they had to pray outside in rain. I went down to that school, and some teachers told them to go outside. And then next thing on social media, even though they were saying things, yeah, and she's a Jew woman as well, and she should be kicked out and convicted of a crime and things like that. All these things need talking about, and I'm going to be able to be in a position to get these issues talked about within our community. But anyway, thank you for tuning in. NHP UK here. Let me put my banner up. Don't forget, donations are most welcome. We've not got much money in. Our website will be very shortly coming out. You can join the party through the website. We'll have all that connected to it. And we're running local elections. We want people to run with us. And we want people to support our actions and stuff like that. Pat's not got another election for 4 years or 3 years, but I've got an election next year. We've got Brian Parsonage on in Blackpool, so he'll probably be running next year as well. But yeah, so at a local level, I will talk about these issues. I don't know any other party that's talked like this, but I am talking like this. I don't know any other party that's talked about these issues and thinking that they can do something about it or said anything. They might have done, but these are going to be our history is one of our core values of our party, and we don't want it erased. So we're against any of the colonization of our history, like I showed you last week with Mary Seacole. And we're against any statues being pulled down and things like that. Big time. Our history's got to stay our history. Whether people think it's bad or not, it's going to stay in the UK. And our party's big on that. I'm not saying we're bigger than other parties, but we're big on it. I was doing things about history before I started the party with party. You can see that in me. You can see that I like that kind of stuff. It's a big part of our party. But, you know, thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'll look through. Lorenzo, you all right? Space Hopper, good evening, sir. Andy Red Volvo. I've already for people who live in my area, I've emailed First Choice Homes over antisocial behaviour. I did an email. I said I'm a local election candidate. I ran in the elections, and people are telling me about antisocial behaviour. I did have some addresses and things. I've given them, and they confirmed that they are aware of it, so people have reported it in. That's the first thing they asked the people. Have this stuff been reported? They said, yeah. Have you got details of dates and times? Yes, they've got all this. It's been reported. So I just let First Choice know I'm aware of it now. So if anything further goes on with this issue, I can get contacted by my constituents and then do another email or push for a bit more information or do another email to ask them to solve the situation, because the people who've contacted me aren't young people. They're old and they've got disabilities, and these are the people that we should be looking after, some of the most vulnerable on our housing estates is these people with disabilities and the old. And I'm just glad that I can do something, and I have emailed the First Choice Homes. I'm also getting involved in a little project to try and get some work done in a particular area of Hollywood. So I've been working on that past couple of weeks. I've got photos and that, and I've got to draft up an email to the particular housing association about that. And again, it's primarily helping disabled and mildly infirm or slightly older people. Again, some of the most vulnerable in our estates and in our towns. So, and of course, we've got this cost of living crisis and stuff going on. But you know, I'm working on it. I'm not even a counsellor, and I'm doing emails, and I'm sure that the people who I email will be full. They might not be aware, but I have wrote on that I am the leader of the National Housing Party, United Kingdom. It's my political party, and I'm running in local elections. So I could possibly be a councillor. If I'm a councillor next year, then I've got the councillor title behind me when I'm emailing. But you know what? These kind of things, working with a councillor and getting this kind of work done, is not new to me. I've lived in areas before where I've had people come up to me saying they're putting my kids in different schools when we live on this estate, and two of them go to this school. And all you've got to do is email your counsellor. I get the email for them.
I see the use.
Thank you, Mum. And I'll help.
Everything.
I've helped a couple of people draft up emails before to send off to get these issues sorted. So, you know, that's how we get involved. That's how I can get involved in my community. So I'm trying to do these things even before the elections come next year. I'm doing them now. You know, I don't have to wait. Don't have to wait till I'm a councillor. I should be able to do some of these things now, and it'll give me practice anyway for next year. But yeah, thank you very much for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, The Roch, as well. Thank you to The Roch. Wait, I'll put that banner up here. Hold on, let me just get it up again.
They know.
They know, Mum. What do they know?
They must.
They must know, right?
Oh, it's awful.
That's a banner that we I took a picture of on Friday, and it's M6 Junction 15 near there. We've been told that there is one on the M62 just before you get to Bradford. The turn-off for Bradford is the M606. I know that bit stretch of road pretty well, and there is some banners around there. But we've been told, but you know, if we be allowed to, you know, there is Christian banners up. I know there is, and I bet there is some that might say that there's only one God. But you know, in the light of everything that goes on and the lack of integration into our society, it's just offensive, and it's offensive to a lot of people. It's mildly offensive to me, but I'm guessing it'd be much more offensive to other people. You know what I mean? And like I said, with everything going on, we never talk about these issues or anything like that. And there's been worse Islamic signs written across the streets, not in advertising boards, but saying worse than that, put out on the UK lands, and nothing ever happens.
It's terrible. Like
Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going. Thank you very much for tuning in. And I will see you all on Thursday, and we're doing part 3 of the Ritual Report. A lot more to go in on there. As you've seen, I've already showed you where they give millions out to minority communities to probably appease them after the riots. And the riots wasn't, even though they wanted to blame it on white people, I've told you this, they bring up the BNP, it wasn't their fault. If we read the Ritual Report, it's Oldham Council's fault for not dealing with these issues for 30 years before. So it's not any white person's fault. It's the white people who are in the council, but it's a Labour Party in it. It's the council's fault. That's what the results. Even though they have to mention right wing, far right in it, all these political correct words, they have to mention them in it. We know already that it's the council's fault. So I just want people to take note of that as I'm going through that. We already know that it's the council's fault that why we had them riots, and the Labour Party for not dealing with the segregation issues beforehand. The council venomously denied that. They've said they were going to change it all, and still 17 years later, there's kids that don't learn English coming out of Oldham schools. I rest my case. I rest my case against Oldham Council. I do. But thank you very much. I'm going to go. Bit of time, my mum. Yeah, mammy?
Hey,
Shall we have some chocolate? Do you want a bit of chocolate?
No, I'm all right.
You're all right, yeah. Will you drink some of your drink for me then?
Yeah.
Go on, you have a big drink of that, because it's hot in it. You need a lot of drink, Mum. Juice. That's it. Big drink, Mum. Big drink. Go on, Mum. Get it down. Oh, lovely, Mum. Oh, well done, Mum. Thank you very much, Mum. Remember, plenty of water, Dr. Duru said. Do you remember that, Mum? Yeah? Plenty of water, yeah? Right, thank you very much, guys. So good night from me and my mum.
Yes.
And I'll catch you all on Thursday. But thank you very much, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you.
So, because